Chapter 7. Funeral. On June 18th, all Nevs gathered for a memorial at the NEV headquarters. The southeast suburb of Nankin City was where the main base of operations for NEV was located, an old train station that had been rehabilitated. A supply train came in from the east, making its final stop at NEV HQ, where licensed volunteers inspected all cargo. Mayor Jefferson passed the bill after many citizens gathered, combining their skills to help rebuild Nankin after it had been hit by the global financial crisis. The communications tower was 7 floors high and 3 floors underground. Various rooms were allocated to certain volunteers for their unified support. Troy looked out from Alyssa's office window, seeing Dr. Axel Chase operating his customized vacuum heat pipe cannon from NEV Marine. The contraption was absorbing a controlled fire from a perfectly good kayak. Axel was filming from a spot on the Tyson River so he could publish yet more video blogs. Down the hall, Peter Richardson, as the primary human resources volunteer and neutral counselor, had 4 rooms. Although services were available for these different people and divisions to help one another, conflict of interest was common. Therefore, NEV law protected the best interests of all. One Nankin emergency volunteer was driving while on his learner's permit, and he sideswiped a fellow Nev's car. In a case like this one, Maxwell Turner or any other NEV could not legally represent both parties because there would be a conflict of interest. Thankfully, both parties came to a reasonable agreement instead of wasting taxpayers' money through the congested justice system. Troy enjoyed being in Alyssa's office. It offered a clear view of the train bridge and point farther north. From there, he could see the only 2 bridges into town. Taking a moment to look at a photo of Alyssa and David, Troy could not help to think, what is a father to do without his wife? "Captain, I have something for you from the charity group," Peter Richardson lovingly said, stepping into Alyssa's office. "Charity? This week I have had too many people telling me how to feel. Police, Child Protective Services, therapists, the media, and Mayor Jefferson have all tried to force me to over-explain myself without being accompanied by Maxwell, my lawyer. Listening to everyone's damn opinion only leads to a mental breakdown. Long story short, my family does not need charity. Thank you for stopping by." Troy pushed his fingers forward, signaling for Peter to leave. Peter placed 3 Edward the Cat dolls on Alyssa's desk. This one is a shirtless MMA fighter with NEV written down the side of his brown shorts. "Look familiar?" Troy sighed. "That is one ugly hairless cat. How is a cat with a saggy chest and pointy nipples supposed to make anyone feel better?" Peter continued to talk, ignoring Troy's response. "This one is for David. Edward the Cat is a builder with his hard hat and pencil. My favorite is Edward the Cat dressed as Jane Turner in her red and black leather outfit. Unfortunately, females have fewer quality role model options for cosplay. My reasoning here is to promote the Edward the Cat Foundation on the Ray of Hope Day March on June 21st. Women can be anything they want to be. Her fame can help push this line forward for a new generation of young women and ultimately for families." Peter nodded, looking proud of his speech. Troy grimaced at the sight of each doll. "I remember when Alyssa got that job as an actress at the time when you 2 were dating. You were both 22, and now you're both 40. Pointing out the obvious? Never mind. I just need time to myself." Troy pushed his fingers forward forcefully, signaling for Peter to get out. "Not a problem at all, Captain." Peter bowed as he left the office. Troy slammed the door and then sat in Alyssa's seat, closing his eyes. Soon he fell into a deep sleep. Troy began dreaming of an event when he was 22 years old. He was outside the Selim Hotel at a time when its bar was a raging nightclub. Troy combed his giant fuzzy afro. He was dressed in rainbow 70s disco apparel while working security. "Stand in a straight line, people," Troy growled. Axel had 3-foot-long hair tied into a ponytail. The years had been very good to Axel, he still looked like he hasn't aged a single day. "Yo, Troyster. Your sister Anna is a fine lady, but her friend is crying backstage. Her friend is a hot brunette with green eyes, milky soft white skin, and a lack of self-esteem. I told you all keep a straight line. Troy howled like a wolf, then waved to another security guard. I need you to work the line, dog. My sister's friend needs me. A ginger-haired man covered in acne, with braces on his teeth, and sporting a silver name tag saying hello. My name is Gaylord, approached. What seems to be the problem, Troyster? Gaylord asked, spitting as he pronounced each word because his retainer was too big for his mouth. Pointing toward Gaylord's chest, Troy said, I need you to have my back, Gaylord. I will be out again after I see my sister's friend. Troy headed into the club with Axel acting as his wingman, ready to rescue his damsel in distress. Walking through the backstage area and past the lockers, Troy was about to meet Alyssa for the first time. Is that her, Axel? Yes. Go to her. I'll get back to Anna Banana and meet you at your place. Troy approached, grabbing a courtesy jar of small wrapped chocolates. Madam, I need you to stop flooding the place and to tell me who hurt you. Troy said abruptly. Alyssa snapped back, that is not funny. Troy threw chocolates by Alyssa's feet, took a step back, then threw 6 more chocolates, stepping back 2 more steps. Throw chocolates at life's problems in the hope that they go away. Troy smiled lovingly. Giggling and snorting, Alyssa blew her nose and then burst out laughing. What are you doing working in a place like this? Troy immediately redirected his question back to Alyssa. Why you are working in a place like this when you have choices to do something more meaningful? Sobbing, she replied, I am seeking my father's approval. He chooses not to notice me. Troy pointed toward the direction of the stage. You do know this is a strip club on Saturdays and every other day, including Christmas? What would your father think if he saw you dressed as Santa's little helper performing a lap dance on Santa's cane? Alyssa cried. He won't think of me while Dodge is giving him a lap dance. Crying harder, Alyssa covered her face. Troy shook his head. Why respect him if he cannot respect you? Who needs his approval when he gives his love to another woman? Not that you should be looking for his validation by stripping. It sounds like borderline incest, reminding me of Lot and his 2 but ugly daughters in the Book of Genesis. Enough said about how far that story goes toward proving intoxication is scary shit. Troy grinned. Alyssa cried louder than a blue whale. Dodge is a man who is curvier than me. Troy dropped the chocolates jar and reacted by rubbing both hands against his forehead. Damn, Anna's friend, that is rough. How about you crash at my place tonight? You can sleep in Anna's room on the spare bed. Give your father time. He may come around one day, before his life ends. 3 months later, all 4 were living under the same roof with Troy's father. Mervyn Marino, since my parents passed away, you adopted me into your home and honored my mother's wishes. We faced a lot of racial slander and even pulled through when your work fire truck was vandalized. We all pulled through as a family with Troy as my brother. You have accepted my best friend, Alyssa, and my boyfriend to reside here with us as a family of 5 young adults. I love you as if you were my own father, Anna said, sobbing. Mervyn smiled. You have made me very proud. You are in your 4th year at college, looking good once again. Father, Dad, and Mervyn Marino are good things to call me. Just do not call me Gramps anytime soon. Anna cringed. Before she could respond, Axel interrupted. Anna is baking a pie in the oven. Mervyn smiled. I am looking forward to your signature gooseberry pie. Anna is pregnant. Axel did it, Troy said abruptly. Everyone was silent. Mervyn immediately chased Axel out the front door. They covered 6 miles, running from South Nankin into Gwenvale Forest. Younger Tracy Genelan was 18 years old, walking toward Gwenvale Asylum. Tracy dropped her schoolbag and crossed the road, standing between Mervyn and Axel. What happened after that? and in turn organized a family therapy session with supervision from her boss. Mervyn began his intake. I am bloody pissed that everyone who lives under my roof suddenly has no plans to continue their college education. Younger Tracy Jenilan walked between rooms in what is called a shuttle mediation. This helped to prevent turning emotions into emotional decisions by eliminating face-to-face contact in favor of a short-term solution. 2 hours later, everyone had a parenting plan in motion and an idea as to what would help everyone work as a family, including what would be best for baby Scott Chase once he arrived. Axel had family support from Mervyn to finish college and later become a doctor of engineering and an astrophysicist. Troy thought, Dr. Tracy Jenilan lovingly helped all of us to do what is best. There were 5 adults raising Scott until the Chase family moved out, when Scott turned 10 years old. Dad certainly helped us to get our careers going. I was surprised how much he learned about boxing during his service in Vietnam, back when Major Thorne was Private Thorne. As Dad always said, in every boxing fight the odds work best in favor of the black guy over the white guy, so it is best to bet on the black guy. Major Thorne was not my biggest fight, but he sure improved after losing to me back then. One day we will have our rematch that he is so looking forward to. Alyssa and Anna both worked in customer service for a supermarket. I still cannot remember who Dr. Tracy Jenilan's boss was all those years ago. Troy woke up to see Alyssa's desk clock reading 10:03. Are you awake, Captain? Everyone is waiting to hear your speech. Peter Richardson stood in the doorway smiling. Troy followed Peter into the main hall, where rows of seats were set up and the community had gathered for Alyssa's funeral. Nankin emergency volunteers and chef caterer Gaylord had a buffet set up for after Troy's eulogy. Peter accompanied Mayor Jefferson toward his seat. Troy took to the stage, looking over at the many NEV and other people who were clearly distressed about the end of their country club. Eric Fitzgerald sat with his girlfriend Maggie, who rested against his arm. Troy began tapping his fingers on the stand to gain everyone's attention. Alyssa will be truly missed. As captain of Nankin Emergency Volunteers, it is up to me to make decisions in support of our community. Cheers to all of you all tax-dodging snobs, especially you, Fitzgerald, pretending to care for those who cannot afford your $200,000 joining fee, coming here seeking help from your community, where good volunteers have put on a buffet for everyone involved. The Golden Club Country Club will not be rebuilt, so from NEV, me, and Alyssa, get the hell out. Respect Alyssa's memorial service. None of you are welcome to ask for help, so please hurry up and get the hell out, Troy asserted himself calmly. Eric stood up, announcing loudly, I have donated funds to adding a new police precinct to this broken city. I am also announcing that I will be running for mayor against you, Jefferson, he said, turning toward the mayor. Now is not the time for our quarrel. Now is the time to shed tears for Alyssa in the hopes that heaven will take this beautiful angel away from this cruel world. Mayor Jefferson burst out into uncontrollable laughter, sounding like a straggled peacock. This city's mayor of 10 years running against man who suddenly decided to give back. We can have a political debate at a more appropriate time and place. Maxwell Turner, a middle-aged man with distinct short brown wavy hair dressed in a nice grey business suit, stepped onto the stage. He handed Troy a card, avoiding any handshake. The card read as follows. Meet me and others tomorrow morning, June 19th, at Warehouse 6, South Nankin, and await further instructions. Time, 6 o'clock.